My name is Jonathan Radin, and I work at the University of Colorado Medical Campus. And I have had the pleasure of working with Abigail here for the last 4 months, 5 months, and have just had so much fun with it and learning as fast as I can. I have about 28 years of working administration jobs all across university campuses. Small private liberal arts universities, now this massive medical campus, and it's been just an incredible ride. I absolutely love it. I don't think there's a section of a university campus I haven't worked on, but they have not let me drive one of the campus police cars yet, so that's still on my list. And we're really excited to be up here and tell you about some of the stuff we're trying to do on one of the newer sides of the Interfolio area, which I think is really valuable and has an incredible potential for faculty benefit.
And my name is Abigail Karstens. It's great to be with you all today. I'm a project manager at Interfolio. I've been here for about 4 years. Before coming on board to Interfolio, I was at Pepperdine University, so go Waves. I know we've got some reps from Grazie Dio here today. I'm actually a Grazie Dio class of 21, so if you're here, I'll chat with you afterwards. But I came over from Pepperdine and I implemented RPT while I was there, so I sat on both sides of the aisle. It's just a tremendous honor to get to work with you all, having seen what it looks like on that side, and now as you all are embarking on your Interfolio journey. I'm located in the Dallas, Texas area, and grateful to be back in beautiful San Diego. All right, so where we're headed today, we're gonna go ahead and start off with some Anschutz by the numbers, so you can get to know Anschutz a little bit better. Then, for those of you who are unfamiliar with web profiles, we'll do an abbreviated demo of web profiles. We'll give you an update on the implementation status of web profiles at Anschutz. And then we'll talk about the vision and the plan for web profiles as they are at the very beginning of this journey to roll it out. And we'll wrap up with the faculty value. What's in it for them?
So the Anschutz Medical Campus, it was a lot of fun listening to these folks talk about the unified campuses and how that all works. And I think all of us have different perspectives on it in terms of what would be better and what isn't. They all create challenges for us, which is kind of what our jobs are. So the Anschutz Medical Campus is one of 4 campuses in the CU system. We've got Boulder, which is probably one of the better known key campuses for us. It's where a lot of the aerospace science happens. And most of the undergrad students and PhD grad students, non-medical, are in that arena. We've got Colorado Springs, which is a very cool campus south of us. And then there's the University of Colorado Denver campus, which is our urban campus. And then we have the Anschutz Medical Campus that's located right between the downtown area and our airport. We've got 40 highly ranked degree programs on that campus, and there's the original Fitzsimmons Army Hospital that exists there as well. We have about 4,500 students that we serve on that campus. And one of the fun little facts about that campus is that in 1955, when Eisenhower had his massive heart attack, visiting his wife's family. He spent 7 weeks in that hospital, and I didn't know this, and I'm not sure on all of the official details of it. The White House moves wherever the president is. So that building became the Western White House for 7 weeks while he was there. And some fortuitous leader decided to capture that. And so that room is still preserved today with terrifying instruments that look like they belong in a Mary Shelley novel and not treating human beings. So that is a fun little fact about that campus as well. The last thing I want to say is because faculty size is such an important thing, I want to comment on the fact that we've got these 4 campuses. We are a massive system. I think we are the 2nd or 3rd largest employer in the entire state. And more than 50% of the faculty in the entire system reside on that medical campus. We're thousands of faculty in those 4 or 5 different colleges and schools: nursing, dental, pharmacy, medicine, public health. So it is a massive group. So when we're talking about deployment of new systems, we have to take in a scope and a magnitude that is, frankly, I'll just say scary. Okay.
All right, and before we dive into the demo of Web Profiles today, just a little bit, for those of you, I heard some great conversations yesterday about we have all of this great faculty data available to us in the FIS now. And so what do we do with it? We can run reports to make decisions. We can understand what our faculty are doing. It connects with some other modules. And I'm glad you came to this session today because in addition to collecting data in the FIS, you can now turn the value that you gain from that data into visibility for your faculty. So for those of you who don't know, Web Profiles, it's a fairly new product with Interfolio. We actually have 6 live clients right now with Web Profiles. For those of you who attended EIC last year in Chicago, you may remember North Carolina A&T State University. They presented on Web Profiles, and they are among the 6 that are now live. So anyways, if you haven't heard about the tool yet, we'd love to chat with you more about it and want to give a demo so you know what we're talking about. So on this home screen of the Web Profiles website, at the top, you can choose your own colors and branding. You can apply your logo that is specific to your institution. Also, this header image below or behind the search bar, that's something that can be customized as well. As I scroll down, you can see several tabs across the top here, beginning with profiles. These can also be white labeled, and the colors can change and match your branding too. And also, all of this data is, again, coming from FAR, and it is enriched by Scopus on its way into Web Profiles. So just keep that in mind as we're looking through this. Below, you have room for a header message. So we just have a generic Web Profiles one here, but you can include a header message for your institution. And then the UN Sustainable Development Goals below. So this view of the SDGs are going to be kind of an aggregated view, this dashboard that you can see where your institution is meeting these goals, or what goals your researchers are publishing on. And then as I scroll down further, you can see this global collaboration map. So this is collaborations in top research areas from the last 5 years and all of the different places that your researchers are touching around the world. I'm going to scroll back to the top. A couple things I want to highlight again from this home screen. So the content areas will remain the same for each of these tabs, but you can white label them. So research units, this is going to be your academic unit structure from faculty activity reporting. You can view this in a hierarchy view or a grid view. So just if this view looks familiar to you and you have faculty activity reporting, that's exactly where that's coming from. In the grid view, you can include the SDGs. You can kind of filter out units by concepts, by the type, so where they're at in the hierarchy. Under grants, you can see, again, grants at your entire institution. And again, we've got some filters on the left-hand side where you can hone in on exactly what you want to look at. The same with scholarship. So we'll talk more about these impact metrics on the right in just a moment. But again, you can look at scholarship in this kind of big way for your campus and see where all of your scholars are researching. With teaching, you can see courses being taught across the institution. And then lastly, service activities as well. All right. From the home screen, you can also search by concept or matching text. I'm going to show you what this looks like really quick. If I just search for Virginia Apgar, not only will you find her profile, but you'll also see any of her grant records, and as I scroll down, scholarship records too, in teaching and service. All right. Taking a closer look at Virginia's profile. So once you have pulled up a faculty member's profile, you can see some information about them. So their name, their ORCID ID, if that is provided in FAR, some contact information like phone number and office location, email address, and a website. You can also see this lovely profile photo, which is something, again, coming from faculty activity reporting. And then at the top, you can also see any H-index counts, citation counts, and that is being updated as they change in real time. As I scroll down, I can see the biography, again, coming from faculty activity reporting, and the education background. I can see any UN Sustainable Development Goals that Virginia specifically has published on that are tied to, and I can also see fingerprinting. So the fingerprinting really just highlights content areas that your scholar touches. So if I'm curious about which works Virginia has worked on that have to do with neonatal infant, I can look at the scholarship here by clicking on the fingerprint, and then I can also see any associated profiles with this content area. And then as I scroll down, I can see grants, scholarship, and service. You can, of course, view this in the tabs across the top too, but if you want to scroll down and view it that way, that's also an option. Okay. Back at the top, I want to show the fingerprinting again. So I'm going to go ahead and click the fingerprint tab. So again, you can see the fingerprinting content areas for Virginia across all of her publications. This network view is also incredible. It will, once this loads, let me give it a refresh. It is refreshing. But once this loads, it will give a map, kind of like we saw on the home screen, but just for Virginia. So any scholars that that she's collaborated with, anywhere her research has touched. You can also filter out by external persons, research units, and external research units, so that will kind of change the map. There we go. Here. Oh.
She's unfortunately dead.
Oh.
So if you
Got
go
it.
back to the start here,
Oh, yep, 2019. Yep. We're going back to 1940. There we go. Here's our network.
Look
okay.
at the pretty picture.
yeah, apologies that she is no longer alive. So she's no longer publishing.
Yes.
But we can see for your faculty that are actively engaged, that are actively on your campus or recent, they'll see much more recent, obviously, information. And the more filtering you get, the better it will be. I'm going to also add, you see everyone that's in this dark gray, so you see like Juan on the right, Nancy kind of in the middle. Those are internal to your institution. So those are your users that they're partnering with, collaborating with, that they're touching in terms of their research scholarship scope. And then everybody that is not filled in, or I guess empty, I don't really know a good term for that, are other users that we're tracking. So there are other people that we have data for that are part of other organizations.
Awesome. All right. Okay, next I want to highlight one particular publication from Virginia. So really here I want to focus on the additional metrics that you get in web profiles. So first you can see the Scopus citation count at the top. You can also see the metrics as far as where things were cited. So you can see this particular work was picked up by 6 news outlets. It was posted on X 4 times. We've got 2 Wikipedia references, and it was even on Reddit once. And then additionally, we have the PlumX metrics as well, which include citation counts, readers, and reference numbers too. All right. Let's switch back.
You do the first part of this. There it is.
All right, so to give you a little bit of history about Anschutz and how we got to today. So first, there's really 2 ways to implement web profiles. One is if you are a net new client, meaning you're at the beginning of your FAR, IDS, and web profiles journey. We would consider you new. Welcome. So we can kind of start that type of implementation with the end goal of web profiles in mind. Anschutz has been a partner for a while now, so they have been live with faculty activity reporting for a couple years, some campuses more than others. But in that case, we kind of take a step back, we take a look at how your FAR is configured, and then we have to do a few pre-setup steps before we can move into the web profiles implementation. So that's the situation of Anschutz. Anschutz Medical Campus is made up of 5 schools: medicine, nursing, dental, pharmacy, and public health. And so these schools actually individually got interested in Interfolio. It was a little bit of a group effort, and we eventually reached a tipping point, and now we're all in one environment. So we kind of started off on separate journeys, and now we're all in one central environment. So now that we're in this place, we can start moving forward with web profiles. We actually just concluded a migration project so everyone could get in the same environment. And from here, we are now doing some things like cleaning up our units. So on the technical side, we're taking a look at the way our units are named and making sure that those are clean and would be appealing to look at from an external user and easy to navigate. We're also refreshing the faculty population, so they do that anyways. They've got a great person that keeps everything up to date for us, at least on a monthly basis. And so just making sure that anyone who should have access to a web profile does. They're also in the process of choosing their service section to populate onto web profiles. We are going to be undertaking a profile photo load into faculty activity reporting, and then those will push to web profiles. We've got to make some branding decisions, and then also make a decision on the publicly displayed activity classification. So we're early in the process here. There's a lot of prep work to get to this point, and excited to see the progress now that we're in these early stages.
If you can imagine trying to walk 5 different cats on leashes that are all extremely different length. That's kind of what the process has been like with these different instances of Interfolio deployment. One school is using it this way, another school is using it a different way. So that work and effort has been real, and one of the steps in getting everybody on the same level for that has been the creation of our governance committee. So it's really important that the campus as a whole has a voice in making decisions that are in that universal category of things. So areas where a school or an individual unit isn't able to customize because the decisions are broad across all groups. Some of those settings exist. So we created a trustee and steward, kind of a traditional governance model. The trustees all represent the faculty leadership in each of those schools. So it's the assistant and associate deans of faculty affairs. So they all have representation there. They mainly get involved on the communication side of things, keeping them in the loop, because we know that it's really important for them to be engaged in the process. But they also have enormous jobs, and fundamentally trying to take work away from faculty is one of the big motivators for all of this. So we have a steward level, which is really the operational administrative teams that manage the Interfolio platform for us, and that's every school is structured a little differently again, and so however they have it. We've seen people who talk about having teams, and we've seen the people who have proudly waved the flag of being solo entities, and we have both. So, and everything in between. And so that exists. We had our first meeting. I tried to get them to make some decisions electronically, and shockingly, they wanted to meet. I was like, great, let's go. And so now Abigail and I are planning some intensive sessions on a roughly a regular basis, so that we can get through some of the business and work that we need to do to really start rolling out the web profiles ideas.
All right, so the vision for web profiles. So again, a little bit of background here. In order to power web profiles, you need faculty activity reporting, the Interfolio data service, and web profiles. So in order to create a vision, you've got to have those three products. Some administrative goals for web profiles at Anschutz are visibility, collaboration, and insight into research impact metrics. In order to make these administrative goals successful, you all know that you need faculty adoption. And the great news in this case is that faculty adoption is also going to be focused around visibility, collaboration, and insight into research impact metrics. So in this situation, we do have a great encouraging factor to get faculty into FAR and therefore into web profiles as well, making sure that things are up to date so that they can put their best foot forward as they are translating their value into visible collaborative actions for them. They can be seen, they can find others. It's really a great resource for them. On the adoption side, some tools that the FIS has built in for you are initiated input periods. That's another great way to help encourage your faculty to keep things up to date. You can even target those so that it is highlighting the sections that will populate web profiles. So if you're getting close to your web profiles launch and you think, oh, I really just need these few sections to be updated so that web profiles has a successful rollout with lots of great data, an initiated input in FAR is going to be a great way to help you achieve that.
So one of the things that I have loved over my 28 years of working in higher ed is the ability to work with a population, and I mean faculty, that is, I use the word privileged, and I mean that in a good way. They are privileged because they have the ability to specialize and focus in their area at a level that does not exist in any other environment. The easiest one for me, and I didn't really even understand it until I got onto the medical campus, is the idea of subspecialization in healthcare. And there's kind of this conflict between community-based providers for us and academic providers. The academic provider gets to focus in at a level that a community provider cannot. So we have a surgeon who may only operate on liver cancer. We have one that may only do melanoma. We have providers that focus on all of these hundreds and hundreds of subspecialties. But if you go into the community, that general surgeon in that hospital is doing a little breast surgery, they're doing a little melanoma, they're doing a little of this, a little of that. What that means is, theoretically, those academic surgeons, those providers across the board are getting to that 10,000 hours so much faster. And so it's a privilege to get to work in this specialty. So if they have this level of knowledge, go ahead and hit that. It means their point of knowledge is really, really small. Their expertise, the area that they're great on, is this little teeny black dot. And what it means is all of the white space is the stuff they don't know. That's the downside to this level of specialization. And it's where our work as administrators has such a huge impact on them. It's where we get to make this huge difference in how they're doing things. And I think it's really significant and important for us to remember that through these processes. They are lucky that they get to specialize, and oh, by the way, the better they are at specializing, the more we want to hire them. So this is a really good thing, but we have to be aware it means they need a lot more help in those white areas than somebody who's more of a generalist. When we talk about the faculty value for web profiles, ours is complicated because of this four-campus model, right? And it's complicated because of the size of our faculty. So the ability to collaborate is no longer optional in our world. When we look at the importance of grant funding, I think our university, our campus had almost $1 billion in grant funding in the last reported time period. That has become so significant, and the major granting organizations are now requiring collaboration for a lot of these submissions. So the NIH is basically 1 in every 3 grants awarded is significantly collaborated. There's no more single PIs in this world. NSF grants, not to just be purely medical, is about 1 in 4, and their high impact grants are written in that there have to be multidisciplinary. Right? So it's not just multiple PIs in a single area, it's multidisciplinary approaches to this. And then the newest kid on the block is this ARPA-H grant. All of a sudden in an area of scarcity, we're seeing massive dollar amounts available in this arena for medical and healthcare related grants. You can't even get considered if you are not multidisciplinary and multi-institutional. So they don't even want you just collaborating with your peers in your institution, but the dollar amounts make it extremely attractive. But again, if you go back to that idea of the little white space around the black dot, the idea of figuring out who to collaborate with is a real challenge for our faculty. Some of them have great networks and really know how to leverage that. Others struggle with it. And it's one of the really exciting things about web profiles is the ability for them to, on their own, create these maps and really figure out where their collaborators are in their specialty, out of their specialty. The involvement of public health in this type of research has become really important. How is this going to impact varying populations? So all of those things I think are really significant in requiring how we move these things forward.